Yo, what's up? This is my guy Mars, and this is Get Familiar with Khrissy B.
Pull up in motorcades, I got a show today. It's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate. Choppers a throwaway. Hustle the overweight. That's why they follow me, huh? They think I know the way.
Can we take a shot?
Yeah, sure.
Let's open it up by taking a shot. We're gonna toast to. Let's toast to another day of life.
With that.
Let's toast to good health.
With that.
And let's toast to prosperity.
With that.
Cheers. Blue
Cheers.
cups.
Always.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Here. Don't mind me there.
Got you.
Thank you for joining me.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
This is my series called Get Familiar, and I've been wanting to talk to you for a minute. I feel like you've been courting me for the past few years.
I have not.
Yes, you have.
Okay.
I have receipts to prove it.
Well, I apologize.
But it's cool. Like, I know you're busy. I've never taken it personal, but I'm glad we're finally able to kind of just chop it up. I've been very in tune and locked into all of your lives.
Yeah, thank you.
I feel like we got a little bit more acquainted through live, just a smidge.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to kind of dive into what you do, how you've been giving back, especially during the pandemic. It's been like hell.
Mm-hmm.
It's been hell. And I've been thinking that it's super dope how you've been doing your beat auctions. You're giving away beats.
Yeah,
Like, you're
much.
giving away beats. I mean, $200-$300 is for your production is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what made you even start that off? Like, is it just because you had downtime during the pandemic, or you were just like, what was the whole rollout of just giving away your beats like that? Or for the low, I should say. You weren't giving them away, but
yeah, no,
it just dropped the price tremendously.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I had the idea for a long time, and there was a conversation between myself, Mike and Keys, and Nipsey at my old studio, and we were just talking about like monetizing, producers monetizing, and like how they don't get as much, not only credibility, but the money, because like it's not going to say produced by, the majority of the time it's not going to say produced by blah 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 all the time, right? And so you don't get that credit, and then in addition to that, like you don't get paid. You know what I'm saying? But then the artist can tour with your music and get paid forever.
I see.
For the rest of their life. So we had like a real conversation, and Nip was like, he understood where it was coming from, and he basically was like, man, y'all need to do something like where y'all get like the Key Club or something, and y'all just play beats, and I'll just pull up and I'll put it on my Twitter like, yo, I'm pulling up, y'all come fuck with me, Mars and Mike and Keys, we're playing beats and da da da. So like that had my head spinning like ever since then, and just the need for like people hitting me up all the time like, yo, yeah, like how much da da da, and I'm like $1 million, and they're like, yo, I don't have $1 million, and I'm like, oh, all right, well, when you get it, like, God bless you, I want to help, but when you get, that kind of made me be like, well, what if, like, there's another Drake that just doesn't have $1 million,
exactly.
Or like, all of these people that, at the time, really, like you said, during the pandemic, it was just like, this is a lot of people's outlet, you know what I mean, and a lot of people can't go anywhere and aren't as inspired because they may not have like producers or certain people that they feel like will give them the proper education, as well as be closer to getting somewhere where they're trying to get in their career. So that's what made me be like, let me just acknowledge like all these 78 DMs or whatever that's like, yo, I need beats, like, yo, how much da-da-da? Hey, bro, I only got 400, bro, I only got da-da-da, bro, I only got... And it was like, I'm not finna settle, but what I can do is I can be innovative and create opportunity for people to work with me and for me to work with people. So that's kind of how it, came about. And we've been doing it for like 4 or 5 months?
Yeah, 5 months. Yeah. I think you started with March, April?
Yeah, started in March, So we're almost at 100 beats. We had like 70, Hair Checker Chemical, yeah, like 78 or something.
That's like really by far amazing, and I think that you allowing or giving someone that's trying to break into the industry the quality production that you offer at that rate is amazing. And I mean, like you said, maybe I'm just trying to break into the industry. I don't have 15,000 or 20,000 or whatever it costs for your production, but you're giving me the opportunity to have your beat on my new EP or my new album, you know, at an affordable rate, and that's going to look really, really good for them.
It is.
So that's really, I really wanted to take my hat off and to you and give you your roses and your flowers, because that was amazing. That was really amazing, and I was really tapping in to kind of see who was picking up what. So do you listen to any, like, does anybody send you the completed song? Are you listening to the song?
Yeah, so like
finding some great songs coming from your stuff?
Yes, I am actually.
Do you have any particular artists that
have done something?
Yeah, that stand out? That you can think of off top?
I mean, there's quite a few, so I don't want to like just say one person and not say anybody else. But I will say that like a lot of the people that have been consistently supportive are pretty much like the people that are like building EPs. Like they're like, I'm gonna capitalize off this situation. You only it's only 300 or 500, and it's like my thing is like that's the bid. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, the bid starts at this because I want people to be able to, you know, engage and be able to like, you know, afford it. Yeah, absolutely. But like shit, my nigga, like if you got the 1,500, then drop the 1,500. You know, that's your budget for the beat. But everybody keeps saying 300. Like everybody keeps because you started at 300. I know it, but that's a bid. You gotta get him, like, you know what I'm saying? But it's cool, man. Either way, like you know, like I said, I've been able to like bless and be a part of and be blessed with a lot of you know, artists that have worked with me and stuff. So yeah, there's this dude Danny Gomez. He's like the guy that comes and just on every live just comes and buys like everything. And it's like everybody be like, yo, he's winning. Like what's going on? Right, like, or like somebody will get to the finish line, they're like, all right, 300. Somebody say something 400, something. I'm like, going once, going twice. He'll be like 750. And I'm like, yo. And every day be like, man, bro, I ain't got that. Like, I'm not topping that. I'm not fucking with 750. So it'd be cool, like, you know, because the artists actually like, you know, keep investing in themselves. But more so, it's like a community that we built because, you know, the same 5 people coming first, and the same 10 people in addition to everybody else. You know, then it turned into like, yo, I'm gonna call y'all my board members. Like, you know, like I love, like this is like a church, like a church family. Like y'all gonna be my board members, and like my board members really been going hard. They on everything. Your like, hearts are gonna go up. Your emojis gonna go whatever up. It is, they like, gonna catch who's bid and who said what. Whoever's saying something crazy. Because you can't monitor all of that. Yeah, it's too much. So, you know, shout out to the board members. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the squad, MGM squad. But yeah, that's all I've been doing that. That's dope. And then you're doing your after church. And that's cool that you kept that going. You didn't allow, you know, the pandemic and the fact that you have a physical venue every Sunday stop you from continuing after church. And that's been dope. I see how you guys been kind of tapping into that. So every Sunday, of course, I came in on the tail end of it. But you still keep the guests going. You still got your band. You're still turning up. It looks like an amazing vibe. It's still, it does, of course, you know, we always, me personally, I like live shows. So, of course, we're missing that face-to-face interaction, that element. You know, I mean, it's nothing like listening to a live band or being able to really feel the vibrations and feeling the energy in the room. But I feel like you're still creating that to some degree, virtually, and people can still tap in and get that experience. I did an event a couple years ago. This is how I first found out about after church. I did an venue, and it was kind of at the tail end of my event, and after church was going on, I'm like, who is playing all this loud ass music? Oh my shit. The study, right? The study, yes. So I think I remember that night. We were at the tail end of it though, and I was like, damn, it's like really going up. Like I could hear the band, I heard the drums through. I was like, my shit is just, at this point, let's wrap it up. We were already pretty much wrapping it up. So once we were done, I stuck my head in and I was like, damn, this is cool. So I actually wound up staying a little bit and kind of got a full experience. And I dropped in on a couple of Sundays also and really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the energy is so great. The people, I met some cool people actually, kind of coming in and out. The performances, and I like to be able to kind of, find some familiar faces and kind of hear some new music.
Right.
So I pretty much enjoyed it for that aspect of it. So kudos to you on that.
Thank
Being
you.
able to kind of keep it going. But also, I kind of wanted to get your backstory too. I know you're from LA, but like where?
LA and Lancaster.
Oh, Lancaster. So where exactly were you born? LA. Okay, you merged to Lancaster later?
Yeah. Well, I didn't merge. Like, my dad started a church out there in 1992. So
yeah, you come from a church background, right?
Yeah, my grandfather had a church out here in LA. For the people that don't know where out here is,
right
on Florence and Avalon.
Okay.
So
that's like the east side. Yeah, it is the east side.
Yeah. And I was young. I didn't know.
Yeah.
None of that.
So what school did you go to?
I went to, as far as high school, I went to Lancaster High School. I went to Courts Hill High School. I went to Lancaster and Courts Hill. I graduated from Courts Hill.
You didn't go to like really any school in LA?
1992. Like, so I was born in 84. So
okay.
I do the math.
We're kind of close in age.
Yeah.
I thought you were a little bit older than, okay. Not saying that you look old.
Not saying that you
look old.
It's all good.
You
should have just kept it at that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? You didn't have to do that.
Right. Okay.
Cut that part and edit it. We go, you know what I'm saying? Skip right
Anywho,
on.
okay, so you were born in 84.
Yeah.
You didn't go to any schools in LA, so you went to school in Lancaster.
No. Yeah, I was in private school.
Is Lancaster? That's white.
You said it's white?
Whites?
Yeah, it's white.
Hispanics? Like, what's the demographic?
It's
a little bit of everything. I mean,
I don't know what's cracking. Very racist town. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Like, at least when we moved out there.
Yeah.
Like, I experienced a lot of, walking to school and hearing the niggers and the whole.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy.
In the 90s? Or 2000s in high school?
Yeah, like 1999,
you were
2000.
In high school?
Yeah, for sure.
That's sick. Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow.
But yeah, like I went to school out there, and I had a problem with. It was a good problem, but I had a problem with like hearing music in my head, and I didn't know. Like, there wasn't a class for music production. It wasn't a class for, like, there weren't all of these things that are presented to us now and afforded to us. It wasn't really as much in depth back then. Okay. Like, as far as like compartmentalized. Yeah. So it's like, if you have a music class, it's just a music class. So saying that to say, I'll be in church, I'll be in school, like beating on the desk or trying to remember like a beat. Like whatever I'm hearing, I'm trying to remember it from first period to second period, all the way to when I leave, to keep the same beat in my head all the way to when I get to my church, so I can do it on the keyboard in church. So like I would hear these beats, and I'm like, for me to, I didn't have no voice memo, we didn't have no iPhone, so for me to keep it is like I'll be in first period like just doing this, like, you know what I'm saying, doing stuff like that, and then but Lamar, stop beating on the. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to keep because I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to.
So you wanted to be able to convey it and play it when you got to church.
Well, it's not what happened was I had a keyboard that was like a sequencer where I learned how to make beats. So like I started doing that when I was 14. So by the time I got to 16, it was like I knew how to make anything on the radio. I knew how to make anything that my homies would. You know what I'm saying? Like close enough.
Yeah.
So
you're
at that point, I was just like. Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
My dad taught me a couple chords, and he was like, if you know these chords, then if you know this one church song, then you can play anything.
Right.
So that's pretty much how that happened, and just listening to the radio, figuring stuff out, Yeah. But yeah, that's how that happened. Like being in Lancaster, going to school, and then I had to go on independent study. So like that's why I gave you that backstory of me being like in the class, disrupting the class.
So independent studies came from
me just being disruptive in class. Yeah. And it's like bad is not necessarily the word, because I was very creative. Okay. And they didn't have the classes and information to know how to expound upon my creativity. Yeah.
Or for you to have an outlet to express that. That's what you needed.
But that is what I had when I went to church, which is why I kept doing shit.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? So whatever. I don't want this to be a long story, but that's how I ended up, like, getting on independent study, because they were like, all right, this is too much. My dad's like, yo, you're not about to be, you know what I'm saying, messing up in school. So that made me just be like, okay, I don't really like this school stuff, so I'm gonna just hurry up and do it so I can just do music.
Right.
And I like asked the teacher for all my stuff, like all the work for the year.
Wow.
And it was
out of there.
And I finished everything when I was 17.
Dang.
Yeah.
Did you go to college?
I was taking college classes when I was in high school, just a music class, but I had like this whole dream that like I'm gonna go to MI in Hollywood, then somebody's gonna find me in Hollywood, then I'm gonna become this super producer, then I'm gonna have a studio. And
hello.
And that's literally what happened.
You manifested that shit though.
But,
you manifested that, and I'm not going to push college on my daughter. I know that's kind of, I want her to be able to, I want whatever she feels like she needs to do or wants to do, I'm going to support that.
Yeah, she's passionate about
whatever she's passionate about. I just don't feel like college is for everyone. If she says, Mom, I want to be a ballet dancer, and she's serious about this shit, and I see that she's getting up every day and she's on her toes and she's ballet dancing, right, I'm going to get behind her. I'm going to push that. Facts. Because that's what she wants to do. That's coming from her heart. So I think that's kind of where it started with you, it sounds like. For sure. And not necessarily, I'm not saying don't go to school or don't go to college, but I just think that you knowing that at an early age, and you kind of, starting your dreams and your passion and being able to kind of manifest that early is important. Fact. And sure. Did you have the support of your parents, or they?
Yes, I did.
That's good.
They were very supportive. All I know, I mean, like I said, my dad is a pastor, so all I knew was faith. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of, crazy because, or ironic rather, because like I'm a pastor's son, and it's like, he's preaching faith, and faith, and then it's like I move out the crib with nothing, just go to North Hollywood. Like I literally was staying like around the corner from where we are now, and I'm 17 in my own apartment, my own car. I don't just out here in the world. I don't know nobody. Like, you know what I'm saying? And everything just started like lining up. Everything from me just going to the bank, meeting some lady at the bank. Her husband had the same name. Her studio is across the street. Come to the studio. I play something. They're like, oh my gosh, just if you can give us like 15 beats, then we can let you have the studio. Damn. I made 15 beats that day. Wow. Put them on the CD. We used to have CDs back in the day. Right, yeah. And put it on the CD and gave it to her, and she gave me the keys to the studio, and that was like my studio. Then my homies would start coming through. Then my homeboy Jonathan Powell brought Lawrence through, introduced us. Then Rance was playing for Snoop at the time, and that's he was like, bro, you should play this shit for Snoop. Like, I wasn't even thinking about nobody. I was just like, you was just doing music. I just doing music, So I'm glad that I'm back at that point, because like knowing that you could do something for somebody, or like trying to chase placements and all of that stuff can get very like stressful. Yeah, it can get stressful as well as just discouraging, because like you're not creating something that you want. Somebody's telling you what you need to create. Yes. And then they may not even know what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. Most of the time they don't, but they're not creators. Right. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, with all of those things coming into play, it's just like having a strong foundation. Yeah. Everything that you're talking about, having parents that's, supporting you, and going back to what I was saying, like how it was ironic, it's just like, my dad's like, how you gonna do all this thing? You out there with doing it. And I'm like, I'm gonna use the same thing you preach about. Faith. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Walk by faith, not by sight, Dad.
You know what I'm saying? Right. And like to this day, like I've never had a job. You
ain't never worked a 9 to 5?
Never in my life. Ever.
I'm jealous.
And I'm not. I don't think.
I'm jealous.
I can say that I could be jealous of the people that know when they're gonna get paid. And
exactly, that's true. Stability, I guess, and knowing that you're gonna have a steady income.
Facts. So it's I always say sacrifice over security. So that was my thing. That's my walk. And
you never knew when your next paycheck, your next dollar was gonna come from. That is a real hustle. Right. You have to hustle because you gotta eat.
But in addition to that, you have like, that's why, you know, the things that you are commending me on, which I appreciate, are very vital, because I can't just depend on like being Mars that makes beats, like, or I can't depend on, you know, being an artist or a musician or a 1500 or nothing or astronaut. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of that's cool, but what's next? Yeah. Like, you know, somebody's not doing the beat action right now and they need the opportunity to do that. Okay, we're doing that. Somebody can't, you know, like go to concerts right now, but they need real music to be healed and to hear real music and good vibrations. So we do that after church. You know what I'm saying? So there's certain things I'm just like always trying to be innovative and think of what, you know, will help other people as well as myself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Who was the first person you worked with that kind of gave you your first, I guess, breakthrough? I mean, you worked with so many people.
Breakthrough. I mean,
like, is there anybody that kind of like opened up the floodgates for you, and then it just really started cracking? I mean, I'm in this studio and I'm just looking at all these amazing like plaques on the wall. I'm looking at Usher. I'm looking at Snoop. I'm looking at.
It's not all these amazing. Like,
I'm looking at Ho.
In here, it's not.
Listen, we're like I said, we're giving you your flowers because this is still a great accomplishment. We're looking at Usher. We're looking at Ho. We're looking at 2 Chainz. I mean, who was the first to kind of open it up for you?
I don't know, man. To be honest, like I don't feel like it's a open up thing. I feel like each era or point was like a different step.
Got it.
So like Bobby Valentino was like the first like
I was in love with Bobby Valentino.
Major.
Well, he had some
Bobby
great
Valentino.
albums.
There you go.
he has some great albums.
Yeah, we did the first album, and we were his band, which is how we came up with the name 1500 and everything. And after that, like, they let us be on the album. And Tim and Bob produced the whole album. So like, for them to let like some little young kids,
the production on that was insane.
Yes, it was fire.
Oh my god,
we didn't know what the hell we was doing.
Slow Down, Come Touch Me. I mean, that whole album like was amazing. That first Bobby Valentino was amazing.
Shout out to Bobby V, man.
Yeah,
Tim and Bob.
Yes.
Court. Oh yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, breakout. I don't really know. Like I would say, like as a musician, band wise, show me what you got. As a producer, Take You Down. I think those are the most like. I think those are the records that resonated most, and that I've heard like most. You know, the most feedback from.
Yeah.
But I don't really think like a breakout thing where it's like
it's kind of been era. It's been like you said, it's been a generational era thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Bobby V was like early 2000s. And then you just have everything was just kind of in its own era. The era of music that we're in now is kind of interesting. Do you find yourself kind of being attached to an era? How do you like the music right now that's out? Like, you know, we have a whole new wave, I guess, and a whole new sound that's kind of been created.
Yeah.
To some degree. I mean, now that I know how old you are, you and I come from the same exact generation of music. And me personally, I'm stuck in the 90s. I can't get past the 90s. I compare everything to the 90s, and I try not to. I try to have an open ear for what's going on now. But I just think that the artistry, the production, the lyrics, just everything about the 90s to me was just immaculate. I just compare everything to that. I'm like, you can actually hear what Nas was saying. You can hear what Jay-Z was saying. You can hear what Tribe Called Quest was saying. You could just hear what everybody was saying. The shit was just fire. You know, like the flow was fire. And I just compare everything to that, and I try to be more open to what's going on now. And I try to be like an old hag, like stuck in my era, you know, and get with the times. Like I'm a huge Lil Baby fan, and half of that shit he's talking about, I have to like really like open up my ears and listen. You know what I mean? But I fuck with Lil Baby.
It's the same. I feel the exact same way that you just said. Like from literally everything you just said to Lil Baby. Like, I went through an era where I was like, or a time, not even an era, I just went through a time where I was very adamant and like so respectful. Not saying that I'm not now, but just follow. I was very respectful of the music to the point where, like, I didn't acknowledge or fuck with like anything that wasn't musical or at a certain standard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, what I had to understand was that a lot of people aren't educated and don't have the means to do the shit that some of us can do.
Absolutely.
Or they're not anointed, or they're not gifted in that. You know what I'm saying? And some people just like have acquired the talent and they just practice that shit every day.
Yeah.
And they get good at it.
Yeah.
And you know, they become a great entertainer. You know, some people are great with music, but it's the music and entertainment industry. So you have these people over here that's doing that, and you got these people over here that's doing that. Then you got the mutants, what I like to call, that can do both, and I can do everything. You know what I'm saying? So like, in that sense, you're able to like depict and like kind of compartmentalize and say, okay, like I see what you're doing, that's tight, or like I see what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Opposed to like, oh, that shit is whack.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, well, I mean, whack compared to what? You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have any education or anything. They don't have, all they got is their computer in their bedroom. So they sitting up there making the most out of what they got. And I'd rather them do that than be in our cars robbing us right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yeah, go ahead, keep doing that thing. Keep doing what you're doing. But maybe just add like a little A flat major 7 in there. So I'm very like adamant about like the musicality. You know what I'm saying? And I fuck with the vibe and you know, having little trap shit. I got my own. I'll do that shit.
Be going up.
I do that shit for fun too. You know, I'm doing that shit myself. But you know, it's always important to educate people. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to just. That's why things are the way it is now, because like nobody's saying, "Yo, this is how I got to where I got."
Exactly.
Or, like, this is the formula I used, or this I was in the studio with these people and I learned this and I just made it into my own shit. Like nobody's saying that shit.
Yeah.
And nobody's talking about their failures and mistakes so that people won't make the same mistakes. So I'm kind of like I fucked up and this is what I did. Yeah, and that's
good actually. I wanted to kind of touch on that because I'm sure you get a lot of messages and people just kind of reaching out like, well, how do I get to, you know, how do I get to where you are and how do I get to work with so and so and so and so. But it's a lot of, I'm sure, downs that come with the ups.
Absolutely.
If not more.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? There's no blueprint to this shit. There's no book that says, okay, well, step 1 is you got to do this, and step 2 you got to really fail, and go through a lot of trial and error in order to kind of get to where you are. Right. You know what I mean? And I think that's important too, like you said, to kind of let, like, you know, I make mistakes, I fucked up, this is kind of what I did, but to share that is what's important.
It is.
And a lot of producers too. I don't know anything about production or producing. I think I have a sound for music and an ear for it. But when they do reach out to you, when they be like, "Hey, Martin, you give me some ideas, or you know, listen to my beats," are you able to kind of take some time and maybe listen to some of the beats and kind of take them through them a little bit?
To be honest, if I'm not doing like so we're accepting virtual submissions for after church LA. Okay. So like if I'm not, you know, reviewing submissions, or if I'm not like listening to beats from the beat battle, hidden top, you know what I'm saying? If it's not like a thing that I'm doing, I normally do critiques for like a certain amount. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Because it's just I really don't have like, either I don't have the time or I'm so like submerged in what I'm doing that like I don't like the phone. Like I just be in whatever I'm doing. You know? In your zone. And that's it. I like making the best of what I'm doing. I don't think you can make the best if you have all these distractions. So that's why I don't really be on Instagram. I'll post some shit and then you're done with it. In the vibe. Like, you know. So that's kind of how.
Have you been able to break an artist? I want to shout out Glasses Malone for a second because he always says, that's my nigga. G always says producers break an artist. That's one line that sticks out. If there's anything about G that I always remember, any words, anything, he always says producers break an artist. Have you had the opportunity to do that yet?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm currently in the process of doing that.
Right. somebody up and coming, like the
somebody,
heard of?
yeah. Okay. But that's what breaking an artist means.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Is that you actually
breaking an artist, giving somebody the opportunity. So you're producing this whole entire project,
working with them, you're like sharpening the sword or whatever. So shout out my artist King Dreams. He's fire. He's he's from Connecticut, and I found him on Instagram, just like the same way that you just said, like just listening to people's stuff. I was doing something, like I said, like I was doing somewhere. I'm like, yo, I'm looking for artists to feature on my project, or just to collaborate. And I was just listening to stuff. I was telling people to send me stuff, and he sent me some like a folder of a gang of beats. I mean, a gang of songs. And I was just like overwhelmed. I'm like, I just like kind of went out of it. I was like, well, maybe that might be. Let me just see. I'm just clicked on one of them, fire.
And it was it.
I clicked on like number 7, fire.
Now let me ask you this. Now,
fire.
When you found him, or when you established him and came across his page, now because I know this is something that people are so stuck on, are numbers. This is one thing I really can't stand about social media. Everybody's big on numbers, like who's following who and who has 50,000 compared to maybe 5,000 or whatever. How was his following? Where you just strictly just went based off of just the sound and talent, right? People are so stuck on like having to feel like they can't get behind somebody that maybe has a small following that's still in the building process.
But like I love building shit.
Yeah.
Like that's where I thrive. Like I create sounds. I produce for real. I'm a musician for real. You know what I'm saying? Like out of thin air. Like I create shit out of thin air every day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's what I do. Like so.
What don't you play? You play.
I don't play the harmonica. I don't play anything you have to blow.
That's out.
That's out.
Is it because you
I just
you smoking on your
Nah, like I like.
Okay, you just don't have the pipes for it, or is it?
Nah, it's just I just never. I don't know.
I just never took to it.
Really, just wanted to put some shit in my mouth.
The guitar.
I'm cool with the keyboard. Cool.
Right, keyboard, guitar.
My first instrument was the drums. I started playing piano and organ and keyboards, and then the bass. I don't really play the guitar as much. I don't like saying I play the guitar because I know great guitar players. Okay. But I produce. So what does that mean?
You feel like you're not, like your skills aren't that great? When you say, what do you mean by that? Because you know great guitar players?
It's like when, like I was having a conversation with Maya one day, and she's like, we was talking about being a writer, and she was like, no, but you are a writer, and I'm like, yeah, but no, like it's like I wouldn't just say I'm a writer. And she's like, yeah, but you wrote these songs, and I'm like, but I know people that write amazing songs, so I wouldn't just be like, hey, I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying, like. Chris Brown walking here, I'm not gonna be like, hey, yeah, let's write your single right now. Like, nah, I'm like, all right, like, maybe let's call James, maybe let's call Goldie, let's call, you know what I'm saying, Kess, or the few people that I fuck with. But yeah, I mean, I could do it. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of.
I see. So what's kind of next? I know earlier in our discussion you were kind of just saying that you've been in the creative space. I know we're kind of stuck right now. There's no live shows, so you're just locked in right now. You're making music after church. Yeah. We're in the process of breaking an artist. We're still doing our beat auctions, right? Yep. So what else is in the works? Like what else is in your creative bag?
I have a project with a young lady by the name of Jane Hancock. She's amazing. She's like incredible. She's one of my favorite artists. We're dropping the project on October 2nd, and it's fire. Okay.
And just know it's fire.
Yeah,
we'll look out for it.
She's incredible. In addition to that, I have a couple projects with my artist King Dreams. So I have his project as well as a project that I'm doing with him, like a joint project. Okay. Me singing and rapping and shit like with him. Then I also have like a beat, like an instrumental album that I'm gonna do. Yeah. So like I know people gonna take them and do songs over them and shit like that. So I just want to get that off just to be able to, have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a couple other things that I'm working on, some partnerships and shit that is in the works.
Good.
I want to solidify it first.
Absolutely. So that's good. You're not allowing the pandemic to kind of. I know it's been not even just the pandemic. We just us as Black people been going through a lot. Mm-hmm. I'm tired of looking on the internet, hearing about another Black man getting killed. I'm weird. Like I'm mentally exhausted. It's too much. And that can be very overwhelming. I know my anxiety has been super flared up because the shit's happening in my own backyard. It really is. I mean, I grew up in the Crenshaw district. Right. And I mean, just the other day, somebody just, unfortunately got shot on Slauson and Overhill in broad daylight. I'm like, why are we doing this right now? I mean, it's just nonstop. It's every single day. Hearing about it, how have you been able to mentally stay, sane? Music is obviously the outlet for you, I'm sure. Yeah, for sure.
That's like one of the main things.
You have a son at home.
Praying and being with my for real,
your family,
being grounded, being with my son and my family. Like I just been doing that, and like when it first was happening, like not even when it first was happening, because this has been happening for forever, but like once people start posting and the Black Lives Matter movement, what I'm saying, started getting really in effect. I took my son to the protest. We went to the protest. I was posting things and doing my part, bringing awareness to whatever I can. And then after a while, I was just I started realizing how traumatizing and how conditioned the media allows things to be, because if it's if they keep putting shit in your head, you get conditioned to it, and it's it's just, what I'm saying? So I was just man, I need to just stop. I need to just cleanse and just clear my whole mind and not keep looking at this, because it fucks with my spirit.
Right.
So, for me to be able to make music, for me to be, just being a Black man, period. We've been going through all of this, but at the end of the day, it's more intense now. So I'm driving in the, I'm now making sure I'm looking at the street, doing different shit. And, when I get here to make music, it's a different feeling that I feel. It's not just let me just make a beat, or let me make. What artists am I thinking about it? It's no, this is something it's a lot going on. Yeah. And that's why, Jane Hancock, the second project that we're doing is strictly about social justice and shit that's going on right now, because the world needs it. So man, that's what I've been pretty much working on. I just got done working with Kalani the other day. So a couple other things, Eric Bellinger, Kaylin, for real.
Oh, he's an upcoming new. LA is sounding so amazing right now.
I wouldn't even say upcoming. He doing his shit.
Well, he's kind of I guess he's new. He's new for me for sure. Newer. There you go. Newer. LA is in a really good space right now. And again, this is kind of going back to me being stuck in my era, but we haven't been this booming since the 90s.
Facts.
We were in the 90s, we were booming. We had a whole Dog Pound, Corrupt, Snoop, Tupac.
Yeah, we was quiet for a minute.
We was quiet, but after that, we kind of got real quiet. Now, YG, 2020
Ty,
is amazing.
Joe,
yes.
RJ,
the list goes on.
G
Perico, Blast, shout out to Blast.
I was about to say, he just put his shit out.
Oh my God, Blast got an amazing project out. If y'all haven't tuned into that shit, listen to Blast. I mean, it's so much talent right now. And I mean, we're just in a really, really good space.
Yes, sir.
We have some artists, we have rappers, we have singers, from women to guys, all across the board. I feel like we're in a really good space. We're making back our rounds.
Roddy.
Yep, Roddy. Shout out to Roddy. Whole TDE, of course, always shuts it down. Yes, we're in a really good space. I'm really happy about the space that we're in, and we're holding our own for sure. And you play, I feel like, a huge part in holding us down. Sure, you do. You really do.
Man, I'm trying to do it the best I can.
Yeah, you
every
really
day.
do. And again, just giving you your flowers. Congratulations on everything you've been able to accomplish. I know there's so much more in the works for you.
Thank you.
I love this knit chain. I mean, you've had it for a while now.
Yeah,
but that's a really nice chain.
Thank you.
Your spot is really nice. By the way, we're gonna get some footage of the studio.
It's all good.
But just before I let you go, is there anything? You just drop a gem for me real quick. Just it could be about whatever you want it to be. Just give me one good gem.
A gem.
About life, about music, whatever.
I would just say like, operate in your passion and, you know, with pure intention. You know, because like, you know, if you do something just because it's a fad, or if you do something just because somebody else is doing it and they making money real quick doing it, it's like that's not necessarily your purpose. So if you're not walking or operating in your purpose, you're not going to get as far as you need to be in life. And, you know, each individual that's placed on this earth is here for a certain purpose.
Absolutely.
That's what makes us different. So it's like, you know, let's not be copies of other people. Let's be our own selves and really, like, you know, tap into our own selves. If you don't know who yourself is, I can admit that I would have been that guy plenty of times because I left my parents' house at 17. I was still a kid. So the streets low key I'm around this person and then picking up habits from them, and then around this person, and I moved to Atlanta and pick up habits from them. Now I'm come back and I'm talking like I'm from Atlanta. You know, it's like jargon, like it's all kind of shit I was just picking up. But like once you're able to identify what your purpose is and like walk in that, then that's when you're gonna be blessed. So I would just say walk in your purpose.
I love that. That's actually a really great way to close out. Again, thank you so much. We're in the middle of a pandemic. You allowed me to pull up.
No, man, it's all good.
I don't have to wear my mask.
It's social distancing. It's all good. We got temperatures in the whole
we got the AC. There's a vending machine in here. This is great. Shout out to our sponsor, Soundbag. This is Get Familiar with My Guy Mars. And we're out.
I came in this bitch, fresh out the county with nothing to lose. No, on the ground, yeah. But I don't do this shit for nothing. No, not at all.